Hello, everyone. Welcome to Masters Week, as well as episode 7 of Beyond the Green Golf Podcast. I will be your host for today's show, and name is Brian Mahoney. I just want to start off by saying thank you to everyone who watched last week's video previewing the Valero Texas Open. Thank you also everyone to the new subscribers to my YouTube channel. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Beyond the Green Golf Podcast. I just really appreciate all the feedback I've been receiving, and obviously the comments I've been receiving back on Twitter, as well as kind of the likes on my video, and all that is really greatly appreciated. So thank you very much. If you haven't yet, yes, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as following me on Twitter. My Twitter handle is BeOnTheGreenGolf, and it's just the letter B. So I want to start off by just doing a quick review. I know today's I got a long outline here in front of me, and it's Masters Week, and we got to be focusing on the Masters. But I just want to do a quick review of the Valero Texas Open last week. So just have to say congrats to JJ Spaun on getting his first PGA Tour win in his 147th PGA start. JJ talked about in his post-tournament interview that around this time last year, he wasn't even sure if he would still be competing on the PGA Tour, and was almost close to losing his PGA Tour card as well at one point. But yeah, it's awesome to see that JJ kept grinding, kept working on his game, and eventually just got his first win on the PGA Tour. Interesting tidbit about the last week was JJ was 31 of 31 putting inside 10 feet over the weekend. That'll definitely get it done, being perfect from inside 10 feet over the weekend. JJ Spaun is the 9th first-time winner this season. With the win at Valero, JJ earned the last spot into the Masters, which is obviously really cool and a great achievement. This will be JJ Spaun's 4th major appearance, but it will be his first Masters appearance. As well as an entry into the Masters. With JJ's win, he'll be fully exempt through 2023-2024 season. He received 500 FedEx Cup points, as well as moved into 10th in the FedEx Cup standings. He got $1.5 million in first place prize money. He also earned a spot into the RBC Heritage next week, the PGA Championship, Charles Schwab Challenge, the Memorial Tournament presented by Workday, as well as a spot into the 2023 Century Tournament of Champions. So congrats to JJ. That's definitely a huge accomplishment for him, and wishing him all the best in his first appearance at the Masters this week. So just to do a quick review of the players that I picked last week, I feel like I had a pretty good feeling on the tournament last week, but unfortunately we did not snag the winner. I pretty much warned everyone in my last video that we are staying away from Rory, Spieth, Bryson, and Hideki, and all those ended up being correct. I even gave the warning of the Hideki re-injury that I saw from the Hideki Twitter tracker account, and warned you guys that there definitely could be a chance where Hideki has a mid-tournament withdrawal. So I definitely nailed that one as well. The nice thing about my picks were all 8 players I gave out, including 3 long shots. They all made the cut, but unfortunately no one was able to make a serious push at winning over the weekend. 5 of my 8 players finished in the top 20. And then I did, like I said, had a good feeling to where I thought a long shot would win, with the Masters being next week and a lot of the favorites more likely being focused on next week as opposed to the Valero. So I gave out long shots of 200 to 1, 300 to 1, and another 300 to 1 long shot. But actually it was JJ Spaun, who was 150 to 1, that ended up winning. So once again, congrats to JJ, and huge achievement, and hopefully he can get another win on tour and play well in the Masters this week. So before we get into the Masters, just would like to do Rick Run Good, my announcement. Let's see. Pretty much most of the strokes gained data and custom models I'm going to create and read off to you during most of my videos. They come from Rick Gaiman's website, rickrungood.com. So if you guys love, or if you love strokes gained databases, making your own custom models, please subscribe to rickrungood.com. Thank you very much. So now, on to the Masters week. This is the week that the whole golf community, golf fans everywhere, this is what we look forward to each week or every year. This is obviously one of the best, if not the best, week all year for us golf fans. So welcome to Masters week, everybody. This is the 86th edition of the Masters. And after our last major tournament that we had was Colin Morikawa winning the Open Championship last July. So it feels good to officially be back for the first major of the 2022 calendar year. So I just want to start off by just kind of going over the Masters importance and kind of what it means, why it's such a big week. And one of the people that gave an explanation was Mark Immelman, who is a highly respected golf analyst and a person in the golf community, works for PGA Tour Live. He's also on the First Cut podcast, which I listen to often. And he actually went on Rick Gaiman's personal podcast, 300 Yards to Unknown, this week to preview the Masters. And Rick asked Mark what is so important to him this week about the Masters. And so Mark, he actually lives in Georgia. And so pretty much what his answer is he said it's just, for the golfing public at large, there's just an allure around Augusta National Golf Club. He said it's the golf course, you go there once every year. It's the same dates in the calendar. It's really the first full week of springtime. It's just like got that feeling of, okay, spring is here. And then he said, you think of all the storylines, the genius of the golf course. It's always riddled with excitement, and it's never over. The excitement's never over until the final putt is holed. He said the golf course is always in pristine conditions, and coming off winter, everyone looks for the splash of color you get from the dogwood trees and the azaleas, and of course, obviously, the green jacket. And he also said it's just every golfer's dream to receive the invitation letter from the Augusta National Golf Club to play in the Masters and to hopefully don the green jacket one day. So that was Mark's answer. But I mean, to me personally, just as a huge golf fan, someone who loves golf, breathes it in every week, watches it every week, reads articles constantly, and looking at Twitter all the time, just trying to get any info and tidbits I can get. This is pretty much the biggest week of the season. This is pretty much the Super Bowl. This is pretty much golf's like Super Bowl. So it's just a huge week. I love it. It's a great week for the fans. Watching experience is awesome. But yeah, the other thing I like is that it's like this is the week when the casual fans, the people that aren't watching every week, this is the week when they're also tuning in. So this is just a great week. It makes you gather up with friends. Everyone creates the kind of the competition pools where you're playing against each other, a little bit of trash talking, little bragging rights, who has the better pools, the better players. And so it's just overall a great week to watch with family and friends and watch some great golf this week. So really excited, and hopefully we can just have a great week ahead. So pretty much the biggest storyline this week, obviously heading into the Masters, is the return of Big Cat. Right here, Tiger Woods, Big Cat. But so Tiger Woods is obviously, this is the first time he's playing in a real kind of PGA Tour competition. Well, it's not a PGA Tour event. It's the Masters run by the Augusta National Golf Club, but this is his first real competition. He came back and did the hit and giggle with the PNC Championship with Charlie Woods, but this will be the first full competition with all the PGA Tour players walking the golf course, doing the whole bit. So, but yeah, after his car injury in February of last year, we thought it was possible that we might not ever see Tiger Woods like on the golf course ever again. So with Tiger being back at the course this week, back at the Masters, it's like Tiger Mania is back in full force, and yeah, it's obviously you could tell the crowds that are watching him just during his practice rounds, like on a Monday, it's just crazy. So that's what we love about Tiger. He just brings a lot to the game. Has done obviously a lot to the game, but also the just kind of the vibes you get when Tiger's walking around each week. It's definitely a lot different than when Tiger is not there. So yeah, Tiger. Let's see. In his interview at the Masters, he was asked if he thinks he could compete and win at this year's Masters, and Tiger pretty much responded with, "I do." So a lot of the Tiger fans out there, they just absolutely love to hear that, and it was making people go bonkers. But you know, Tiger's mantra has pretty much always been he's not showing up to a golf tournament unless he thinks he can win. He wouldn't show up if he doesn't think he can win. So pretty much I just want to go over a few Tiger expectations this week, just because it seems like that's what everyone is kind of wondering, like, all right, how is Tiger going to play this week? How is he going to do? So everything that we've been hearing from his 3 practice rounds this week, he played 9 holes on Sunday, 9 holes on Monday, and 9 holes today, is that he looks great. He looks really good. Fred Couples, who played with Tiger in his practice round, said he looks no different than he did in past years. And Couples even admitted that on multiple tee shots, their third playing partner was also Justin Thomas. And so Fred Couples, he said he admitted that on multiple tee shots that Tiger is hitting it past Justin Thomas, and he is striking the ball really well. And Fred Couples also said he expects Tiger to contend this week. So, I mean, with Fred obviously knowing Tiger pretty well and seeing him there, it's obviously great to hear that. But I mean, me personally, when it comes to kind of a betting situation on Tiger, let's see. Pretty much the cut, what I want to explain here is the cut. So to make the cut here, it's a little different than other tournaments. Here, the top 50 players in ties after 2 rounds make the cut. So with only 91 players in the field this week, and 20 players being amateurs, and then also multiple players being older past champions like Freddie Couples and a couple others. A lot of those guys aren't really expected to really do much this week and contend or so, as well as all the amateurs. They don't have very much experience this week, and obviously with the bad weather they're having this week, they've leading up to the tournament, they've had to shut down the course for 2 days. So that's a little bit less practice time for the amateurs out there. So for me, that means that Tiger really only has to beat out about 20 to 25 guys to make the cut. So I definitely think with Tiger's experience, like no one, well, there are a couple maybe, but no one really has the experience like Tiger Woods does around this course. So with Tiger's experience, I definitely think he's going to make the cut this week. But I just personally think with his lack of rounds played, I saw, so obviously he has not played a tournament in 508 days since the November Masters in 2020. And then as well as the course being wet and making it a lot more difficult walk on this course and making it a lot more lengthier. I know with Tiger's sore right leg, he can't really seem like get the distance off the tee that he would like. I think I saw he's averaging about 290 yards per drive. So to me, I just think just all that together, I personally do not think Tiger will finish in the top 20. I definitely hope I am wrong and that we see Tiger in contention on Sunday. But I just think with his lack of kind of rounds being played, the course conditions this week, and still dealing with that kind of sore leg, I think he'll make the cut this week, but I don't think we'll see Tiger in the top 20. But once again, I hope I'm wrong and hope that we see Tiger in contention coming down the back nine on Sunday. That would just be obviously epic for everyone's viewing experience. So I want to go into, before we go into the course, I just kind of want to go into some master tidbits and rules and regulations of Augusta National Golf Club. So, since Augusta National Golf Club is the governing body, they get to set their own rules and regulations when coming to their golf course. So, I thought this would be kind of neat to read off to you some of the specific rules when coming to Augusta. And I received this info from an article written by Kyle Dalton for a website called sportscasting.com. So pretty much here are the tidbits that I wrote down. So the first thing I have written down are the fans here are not referred to as fans. They must be called and referred to as patrons. So the number 2 item is there are no cell phones allowed on this course. You will not see a golfer in the rough, and most weeks you just see him surrounded by a whole bunch of fans with their cell phones out, just recording every single second of the shot. And you won't be seeing any of that this week because there are no cell phones for the patrons allowed. So if you need to use a cell phone there, or if you need to use a phone there, they actually have a bunch of phone banks located around the course that you're able to use if you have an emergency of some sort where you need to use a phone. Let's go on to the next one. The patrons are not allowed to lie down on the grounds. So if you are even leaning back too far, they will come around and ask you to sit upright. That's something I've never heard before, and I thought that was pretty interesting. The attire, because when we go to the Genesis Invitational, that course is long, it's a hard walk. You'll see multiple people taking naps under trees just right there in the daylight or finding whatever shade they can. I mean, you'll see people taking naps at the Genesis Invitational. So unfortunately, if you get too tired or you've had too much to drink at the Masters, sorry, but you can't lay down. So, okay, so the next point, attire is important consideration for the patrons. Backwards facing hats are strictly forbidden. So I don't think Tiger's walking in with his backwards hat this week, or you'll be seeing any friends or any fan or patrons rocking any backwards hats out there watching the golf. Patrons are not allowed to remove their shoes at any point. If you do this, you will be asked to put your shoes back on. Patrons are not allowed to run. So you got to walk from hole to hole. If you're a patron that's a fan of Tiger and you're trying to sprint ahead to the next hole to try to get a spot on the green or the tee box, sorry, you must walk. So you might have to practice power walking or something along those lines. So in addition to the patrons, the announcers themselves also have their own set of traditions as well. So once again, the announcers must refer to the fans as patrons, not fans. You will never hear the announcers refer to the sand traps as sand traps. Instead, they must be called bunkers. And then this same thing is true of the rough. The announcers cannot refer to it as the rough. It must be called the second cut. And then also, when referring to the front nine and back nine, the announcers are not allowed to call it the front nine and the back nine. They must be referred to as the first nine and the second nine. So something just to pay attention to during the coverage this week. If one of the announcers makes one of this mistake, you're most likely going to hear them correct themselves, say the right term, and then move on. So the next item I have on our list here is Masters trends. So I know a lot of people each week going in the Masters, they like hearing all the trends and trying to narrow it down to who fits the trend, try to find your winner that way by process of elimination. But I found a really good tweet here. These are Masters trends are from a tweet by PGA Splits 101 on Twitter. And I'm just going to read them off here. So 42 of the last 42 winners had played in at least one previous Masters tournament. 23 of the last 24 winners made the cut at the Masters the year before they won. 21 of the last 24 winners finished 38th or better at the Masters the year before they won. 12 of the last 14 winners had finished 22nd or higher in a previous Masters tournament. 54 of the last 57 winners did not win the Masters the year before. 20 of the last 22 winners were ranked in the top 30 of the official World Golf Rankings. 12 of the last 13 winners had won a tournament on U.S. soil within the 2 years leading up to their Masters win. 10 of the last 12 winners had finished in the top 6 of a major tournament within 2 years leading up to their Masters win. 11 of the last 12 winners had at least one previous top 8 finish in the 7 events prior to the Masters. 10 of the last 10 winners had gained at least 18 total strokes gained tee to green in the 4 events prior to their Masters win. A couple more here. 11 of the last 12 winners finished 35th or higher on their last start before the Masters tournament. 12 of the last 12 winners ranked 29th or better in strokes gained tee to green in the year leading up to their Masters win. 13 of the last 14 winners ranked 48th or worse for the season in strokes gained putting in the year leading up to their Masters win. Let's see, 2 more. 12 of the last 13 winners were ranked 47th or better for the season in driving distance in the year leading up to their Masters win. And last but not least, 17 of the 19 winners were aged 27 or older. So that pretty much does it for all the trends this week or this year for the Masters. And then I know Rick Gehman is obviously a guy I definitely follow and trust and believe in a lot of the info he gives out. Rick has stated multiple times previously he does not believe in trends. He's not a big fan of hearing the trends. But for me personally, the ones out of that list, just kind of the summary I took away from it are: you need previous Masters experience, definitely have to be in the top 30 of the world rankings, and then have good form leading up to the Masters. So those are just kind of the cliff notes of what I took away from those trends. So another kind of neat thing I thought would be to read out and to tell everyone before I get into my picks this week would be going over a list of repeat Masters winners. Who has won the Masters more than once? And so I'm just going to go through this list here I found online. So, top of the list, 6 wins, Jack Nicklaus. 5 wins, Tiger Woods. 4 wins, Arnold Palmer. 3 wins, Jimmy Demaret. Sorry if I mispronounced that last name. 3 wins, Sam Snead. 3 wins, Gary Player. 3 wins, Nick Faldo. 3 wins, Phil Mickelson. And sorry, but unfortunately, Phil is not here this week. That's a storyline that's kind of getting buried since Tiger is here and everyone's kind of focused so on Tiger and that storyline. But I did see a tweet. I think it was announced that it wasn't the Augusta National Golf Club that said Phil couldn't come. I think he sent a text to the chairman or someone on the board that he was not going to be arriving this year in the Masters. So still kind of unsure of what's going on with Phil, if there's been a secret suspension there or whatnot. But Fortunately, we won't be seeing Phil Mickelson in this year's Masters. And then this is the list of all the players that have 2 wins at the Masters. Horton Smith, Byron Nelson, Ben Hogan, Tom Watson, Seve Ballesteros, Bernhard Langer, Ben Crenshaw, Jose Maria Olazabal, and Bubba Watson. And so those are all your repeat winners. I thought it would also be neat to go just kind of off a list of first-time winners here. So obviously the big stat you hear kind of each week or going to the Masters is about the Fuzzy Zeller. But I'll just read off here what I found. So in the history of the Masters, dating back to 1934, only 3 players have ever won the Masters in their first appearance. 2 of those players were legends who won the first 2 Masters tournaments, known originally as the Augusta National Invitation Tournament. In 1934, Horton Smith won the first Masters by 2 strokes over Craig Wood at 4 under, 284. The next year in 1935, Gene Sarazen, who didn't compete in the first Masters, won in a playoff, also over Craig Wood, at 6 under par. That was the Masters with the shot heard around the world, making an albatross 2 in the final round on the par 5 second hole. And since the first 2 Masters, only Fuzzy Zeller in 1979 won the Masters in his first try. So obviously that's not a good tidbit for all the first time debutantes this week, pretty much. So that year in 1979, Fuzzy Zeller beat Tom Watson and Ed Snead in a playoff to capture his first of 2 major championships. He also won the 1984 U.S. Open. And so I got that info off the Masters website, and I know there's been multiple players that have come close to completing that feat. Names that come to my mind: Jordan Spieth, Sung J M, and Will Zalatoris have all come close to this, accomplishing this feat when they finished second in their debuts. And then another tidbit is the average attempts before winning the Masters. I got this also as well off the Masters website, but it's your average attempts before your first victory is 6. So that's kind of, obviously that doesn't stay true for everyone, but about on average over the history, you need about 6 Masters appearances before you can take down the Masters and don that green jacket and be the Masters champion. So now we can finally get into the Masters course info, and I'm going to go to the GCSAA tournament fact sheet and just kind of read off what they have there. So we're at the Masters tournament. It's the Augusta National Golf Club in Augusta, Georgia. The tournament's being held from April 7th to April 10th, 2022. Let's see here. We have the course architect is Dr. Alistair McKenzie and Bobby Jones in 1933. The tournament setup is a par 72, 36 on the first 9 and second 9. The yardage is 7,510 yards. The course statistics: your average green size, 6,486 square feet. Number of sand bunkers, 44. Number of water hazards, 6. Number of holes water is in play, 5. And let's see here. We have the turf grass. The greens are bent grass. The tees are ryegrass. The fairways are ryegrass. And the rough, which we call this week the second cut, is ryegrass at 1.375 inches. So the the second cut this week is not even 2 inches long. So it's kind of a known thing that you can be a little bit more wild off the tee here, as the second cut, it's going to take me a little while to get used to that, is not as long. So you can be a little bit more wild off the tee this week and still be okay. All right, let's go back here. And let's see. So the other thing about the course I wanted to read off is holes 11, 12, and 13 are referred to as Amon's Corner. If you go to ESPN or the ESPN Plus coverage, they'll have specific coverage just for those 3 holes. And the most famous hole, I would say, is hole 12. It's the par 3, which is very difficult to hit the green. It's the very short par 3 that has the water in the front of the hole. It has the bunker in the front, the bunker in the back. The green is very small. It's very hard to hit. You have your swirling winds going around there, all the trees. You'll see a bunch of the players kind of get up and looking at the trees, seeing where the winds are blowing before they hit. So it's definitely very difficult to judge. And this is the same green where Tony Finau's tournament hopes died in the 2019 Masters when he was paired with Tiger. Both Francisco Molinari and Finau hit their balls into the water while Tiger hit his ball onto the green. So obviously the experience there of needing to get your ball in the green, that's the most important thing. That's what Tiger did, and Tony and Molinari unfortunately did not. And the other thing I heard is once you get onto the green, that green is very easy. So it's crazy that it's that difficult of a hole with the green being so easy, but it's just that tough to hit that small of a green. And then another thing, there were a few course changes this year. And I'm just going to read off what was changed to the course from last year to this year. So the 11th hole, which is known as White Dogwood, it was lengthened by 15 yards. This was done by moving the tee back 15 yards and to the left. The fairways were recontoured, and several trees were removed on the right side, leaving only about 3 trees on that right bailout area. So now this has now become in the practice rounds more of a bailout zone for the players, as they can reach the green easier with less trees. The 15th hole is known as Firethorn. It was lengthened by 20 yards. And the 18th hole, which is known as Holly, can also play up to 13 yards longer. So pretty much the few of the changes are the course just became longer. They just made the course a little bit longer. And that'll definitely make it a little bit more difficult. Especially with this weather this week, being in the soft conditions. So that's the next thing I'm going to go into is the weather this week. So there has been rain and thunderstorm, or kind of just really bad weather the past 2 days, which has actually caused the course to be shut down and everyone told to leave for kind of safety reasons and avoid all the weather hazards that are going to be coming. So pretty much that means for the debutantes, first time Masters appearance players, they're going to be getting less practice time than they normally would this week. Obviously with the rain, it's going to be a very wet golf course. So this will make the course play even longer than it already is. Plus you have the addition of the course, the lengthening of the course. The weather, the rain, it's also going to make it a tougher walk for players like Tiger and any other players that are kind of dealing with some injuries. It's not going to be the best, easiest walk for them this week. Especially with the rain, it's going to make it tougher. The interesting thing, though, about this course is they have not only sub-air systems around the green, under the greens, but they have it as well as under the fairways. So just from my experience, I've heard previous courses, sometimes the really rainy areas, courses will have sub-air underneath the greens. I'm not too sure exactly what type of technology that is, but pretty much it's something that they can personally dry out the greens with this technology or system. So Thursday and Friday should be pretty wet and soft conditions, but it'll be interesting to see how much firmer the course gets by Sunday. And so we should have pretty good weather for the weekend, and especially on Sunday. So hopefully we can, see a great finish on Sunday and don't have any too many delays, and hopefully not a Monday finish. So the other thing is the winds here. It's going to be some pretty strong winds on Thursday and Friday. Like most of the weather report they're showing, like on the Golf Channel, it shows like gusts up to like 15 to 20 miles per hour. But I've actually heard from Paul McGinley on the Live from the Masters. He's seeing that the gusts can go up to 30 miles per hour on Thursday and Friday. And so, like I mentioned before, the thing about this course with the winds that makes it so difficult is the swirling winds. So the players are just a little confused as to which way the wind is going. It could definitely switch on them like any instant or any point. But for the most part, there's going to be west winds this week. And then I did, from watching the Live from the Masters or the Golf Channel, that means with the west winds, the par fives will play into the wind this week. And that was something pretty big for me this week that led to kind of my picks. Was one of the factors that led to my picks. So I just want to start off by going into the Masters field and pretty much reading off the favorites of the week and what their odds are. So I took this screenshot today, pretty much looking at all the odds. And this is just a consensus of the favorites and what odds that you can find them at. So I'll just read it off here. The first one is Jon Rahm at about 12 to 1. Second one is Justin Thomas, 13 to 1. DJ, 18 to 1. Scotty Scheffler, 18 to 1. Cameron Smith, 19 to 1. Brooks Koepka, 20 to 1. Rory McIlroy, 21 to 1. Patrick Cantlay, 22 to 1. Jordan Spieth, 25 to 1. Xander Schauffele, 25 to 1. Victor Hovland, 26 to 1. Morikawa, 27 to 1. And Will Zalatoris at 40 to 1. So those are pretty much all the golfers, the 13 golfers that are listed under 40 to 1 odds this week. And so another really neat article I found was Dan Rappaport's power rankings via Golf Digest article. And so I actually kind of wrote that down on my own sheet here and kind of highlighted these favorite golfers. So it might not be in the order that I just read the favorites, but I wanted to read this information off to you. And once again, this was by Dan Rappaport via Golf Digest article. So something I like to hear is before each week, and something I don't see on a lot of the websites and articles that I'm reading, is how many times a player has played this course, how many appearances does he have, like how many rounds does he have under his belt. Like I feel like after the tournament we're always hearing, oh, so-and-so played this tournament 20 times, and it's like that information wasn't really known or out there. And so I specifically wanted to make sure I looked into that kind of this week with the Masters, and obviously course history being such a big important part this week. So here we go. I'm just going to read them all. Justin Thomas, age 28, official world golf ranking 7, Masters appearances. This is going to be his 7th appearance. His best Masters finish was a 4th in 2020. Brooks Koepka, age 31, official world golf ranking 17th. This is going to be his 7th Masters appearance. His best finish was a T2 in 2019. Scotty Scheffler, age 25, official world golf rankings, number 1. Scotty Scheffler, number 1 golfer in the world. His Masters appearance, this is going to be his 3rd appearance. His best finish was a tied for 18 in 2021. Dustin Johnson, age 37, official world golf ranking 8th. This is going to be his 12th Masters appearance. His best finish was a win in 2020. Cameron Smith, age 28, official world golf ranking 6. This is going to be his 6th Masters appearance. His best finish was a T2 in 2020. Jon Rahm, age 27, official world golf ranking 2. Masters appearance, this is going to be a 6th Masters. Where did I go with the Rahm there? Best finish was a fourth in 2018. Colin Morikawa, age 25, official world golf ranking number 3. This is also going to be his third Masters appearance. His best finish was a tied for 18th in 2021. Victor Hovland, age 24, official world golf ranking 4. Masters appearance, this is going to be his third appearance. His best finish was a T21 in 2021. Xander Schauffele, age 28, official world golf ranking 10th. This is going to be his 5th Masters appearance. His best finish was a T2 in 2019. Willie Z, Will Zalatoris, age 25, official world golf ranking 29th. This is going to be his 2nd Masters appearance. His best finish was a 2nd in 2021. Jordan Spieth, age 28, official world golf ranking 18th. Masters appearance, this is going to be his 9th appearance. His best finish was a win in 2015. Patrick Cantlay, age 30, official world golf ranking 5th. This is going to be his 6th Masters appearance. His best finish is a T9 in 2019. Rory McIlroy, last but not least, Rory McIlroy, age 32, official world golf ranking 9th. This is going to be Rory's 14th Masters appearance, and his best finish is 4th in 2015. And I believe this will be actually his 8th appearance, Rory's 8th appearance, showing up to try to complete the Grand Slam. This is the only major that he has not won, and so he's been trying, but it's been a little struggle for Rory. And his last major win was in 2014, I believe. So, Rory would be ecstatic if he can knock off all those kind of items and complete that career Grand Slam this week. So let's go back here. So here's a list of the debutantes. There are 20 of them. So Sam Burns is obviously the debutante that everyone thinks this year could be the one to, since Fuzzy Zoeller, to actually get it done. Here's the list. Sam Burns, Cameron Young, Taylor Gooch, Seamus Power, Tom Hoagie, HV3, Harold Varner III, baby, Lucas Herbert, K.H. Lee, Sepp Straka, Harry Higgs, Minwoo Lee, J.J. Spawn after the win last week, Garrick Higo, Kita Nakajima, Cameron Davis, Guido Migliozzi, Laird Shepherd, Austin Greaser, James Piot, who is a 5th-year senior at Michigan State, Sparty, and last but not least, Aaron Jarvis, who is a freshman at UNLV here locally. And that is your 20 debutantes. So just for people that like for their Masters pool, if you automatically don't think a debutante is going to win or have a chance, you guys can just go through that list and cross them all off. Let's see here. So notable groupings, pairings, and tee times. So I'm not the biggest stickler on wave splits, but I have heard that there might be a slight advantage to the PM-AM wave time due to a little bit of higher winds on Friday afternoon. So some of the notable pairings Thursday afternoon are 10:30 a.m. Billy Horschel, Dustin Johnson, and Morikawa. 10:41 a.m. Cantlay, Rahm, Willie Z. 10:52 a.m. Hovland, Xander, and Spieth. And 11:03 a.m. Matt Fitzpatrick, Brooks, and Rory McIlroy. So that's enough kind of like tidbits and info about the course. And so now that leads me to my favorites this week. So the favorites this week is kind of, I'm going with the big hitters. That's what I'm going with. I can't choose everyone at the top. It's very hard. It was going back and forth between multiple guys at the top. Who do I want to go with this week? But the three finalists that I have chosen to go with this week, my 3 favorites I'm going with are number 1, Jon Rahm, number 2, Rory McIlroy, and number 3, Brooks Koepka. So those are just the three players that I really like this week, and the more research that I do, and every article and a lot of the stats that I've seen leading up to this week is that you really want to emphasize strokes gained off the tee more than anything else. And I understand, I'm well aware that strokes gained approach is obviously the main stat most weeks, and it's the trend of the last 5 winners here. Sorry, I don't have the stat exactly, but it's just like the last 5 winners or so have all been on the top of the strokes gained approach stat this week. But just kind of with the weather, the course conditions, the par fives playing into the wind, just kind of all that together, it's really making me lean towards the bombers, the big hitters this week. And then another thing I saw, and this is what really kind of gave me confirmation of my picks here, is that Joe Pita, and he's a guy I actually reread Joe Pita's 2019 Masters preview book. This is a guy I really like all his information. If you're not following him on Twitter, his Twitter name is Magic Rat SF on Twitter. Great guy to follow. I highly advise everyone, if you love golf and golf information, strokes gained stats, give Joe a follow. But yeah, so pretty much I have Joe, definitely a highly respected guy that I like to follow when it comes to golf information for betting. And then he had a tweet this week, and it read, and this is what it read, is pretty much, he said, "This surprised me a bit. I certainly thought it was the best iron players we could count on to have the most consistency from year to year." And he's talking about at the Masters. And he said, "And they are important." Obviously, strokes gained approach is very important. But he said the most consistent is the strokes gained off the tee leaders. The 5 best strokes gained off the tee performances by average round from 2016 to 2021, minimum 10 rounds. And he has in parentheses 140 drives. This is the list. 1, Jon Rahm. 2, Rory McIlroy. 3, Brooks Koepka. 4, it's kind of a surprising one, Daniel Berger. And 5, Dustin Johnson. So yeah, I pretty much have just kind of what I said before, with my initial gut feeling of going with the big boys, the big hitters this week, along with Joe Pita's historical stats here at the Masters, plus knowing the weather, the par 5 is going to be playing into the wind. Those are my 3 favorites I'm going with this week, and picking Jon Rahm, Rory McIlroy, and Brooks Koepka are my picks this week. And then, so obviously this week is just more than strokes gained off the tee. When it comes to majors, it's all parts of your game are going to be tested. So you have to drive it well. You have to stay out of the trees. Your approaches have to be on point, pretty much close to your yardages. Your approach proximity has to be on point, because this course is known. If you miss your spot on the greens just by a couple yards, it can make your ball run about 30 feet from the flag, from where it landed. So, and the other big thing I heard this week is three putt avoidance. With these undulating greens, it's definitely gonna be very some tricky putts out there, especially from long distance. So you really want to focus. It's actually more importance to avoid the 3-putt avoidance more than kind of like racking up the birdies, because you're gonna have a lot of this week of 5 to 6 footers that you pretty much need to make for par. And so it's just going to test all around your game. And I just feel like these 3 guys that I mentioned have the all-around game, plus the distance, plus the course history here. I just really like everything about those 3 players. So those are the 3 players I'm going with. And then another Twitter tweet that Joe Pita said was that if historic persistency holds, these 5 guys will roughly have a 4-shot edge on the field over 72 holes before anyone even picks up an iron or putter. And so if you give Rahm, Rory and Brooks a 4-shot lead, plus how well the rest of their games are and how dominant they are. Yeah, those are the three guys I'm going with this week. So obviously people like DJ, Justin Thomas, Spieth, Morikawa, Hovland, Willie Z, and I'm sure I'm leaving off a lot of other names, but obviously a lot of these guys can win this week, but with just a shorter field this week, you can't pick everyone. So you gotta just, even though it doesn't feel too well leaving DJ off, but you just gotta go with it, and you gotta leave a couple people off your betting card. So those are the people I'm kind of leaving off this week. So the three favorites, I grabbed my three favorites at the following numbers. So John Rahm, I got him at 15-1, which is the best number in Vegas I could find, and I got that at South Point. Rory McIlroy, 25-1. That was also the best number in Vegas I can find, and that was at South Point as well. And then Brooks Koepka, I got at 19.5-1. And you could find Brooks currently a little over 20-1 currently. But what I really likes about Brooks is, I'm going to give a shout out to my golfing buddy here, Jesse Sanchez, who is definitely a huge Brooks Koepka fan. He was here in Vegas a few months ago and was placing some futures bets on Brooks. And what's interesting to me is Brooks' number has gotten better since Jesse placed that bet a couple months ago. So to me, it just seems like Brooks, he's obviously more healthy. He's going into this Masters, he's going to be a lot more healthy than he was last year. His game is a lot better form. He's gotten a lot better recently, and it just doesn't make sense to me that his number has gotten better since that time. So to me, with all those factors, I had to make Brooks my final kind of outright pick this week. So once again, Rahm, Rory, and Brooks. Let's hope one of those guys can cross the finish line and don that green jacket this week. But the other thing I wanted to just kind of make it known, if you know me as a golf bettor, you know I love making outright picks. That's just kind of what I like to do. And it's almost like as soon as the Masters ends this year, I'm already starting to put in Masters futures bets for the next year. So the two guys that I actually was picking a lot, it just seemed like the two guys that had the best years this year, and their numbers have shortened incredibly, or just so much since I made these bets. But I was hammering Cameron Smith at 44-1 odds throughout the past year, and I think right now he's about 19-1, somewhere in there. Scotty Scheffler, this is the one I'm most happiest with. I got Scotty Scheffler at 46-1 odds, and I do not recommend this at all, but I got a little bit fortunate, and I parlayed Scotty Scheffler throughout the NFL season, I put Scotty in a 5-team money line parlay, and all 4 of my NFL teams won. And so I have a few tickets on Scotty Scheffler to win 2 different parlays, and I think one's to win about $2,200, and the other one's to win close to $1,400 or $1,500. So Scotty, definitely I'll be pretty happy to see if Scotty or Cameron Smith can get across the finish line as well this week, just due to my great futures numbers I have on them. The other 3 guys at great numbers, great odds that I have that I wanted to read off to everybody is Adam Scott. I grabbed Adam Scott at 80-1. Obviously, Adam Scott's a former winner here at the Masters and has great form or past course history at this tournament. Also been playing well recently. So I grabbed Adam Scott at 80-1, obviously big hitter as well. The last 2 I have, Tony Finau, my boy Tony Finau. Wouldn't be right if I did a Masters podcast and didn't mention my boy Tony Finau. But I grabbed Tony Finau at 89-1 odds at Circa. I know Tony hasn't been playing well recently, but just knowing Tony, his course history here, he loves the course, and hopefully we can get back on track this week, and hopefully Tony can be contending on Sunday. That would be awesome. But the other huge person that I grabbed was Russell Henley at 200 to 1 odds. And that was actually earlier in the week. I grabbed that one just because I noticed that number was just way off. Pretty much now you could find Russell at like 50 to 1, 60 to 1. He's a Georgia native, and he just pretty much leads the just kind of the strokes gained approach categories. I know obviously Russell has struggled on some major appearances on Sundays, the U.S. Open, Torrey Pines, and then also against Matsuyama, gave up a 5-shot lead in Hawaii. But I just thought that was just too great of a number to pass up, and so Russell Henley 200 to 1 is my last outright that I'm going to give out. So that'll pretty much do it for this week's episode of previewing the Masters. I hope everyone has a great week. Obviously, it's going to be a exciting, fun week to watch. Once again, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, Beyond the Green Golf Podcast, please hit that subscribe button. Please like my video. Comment below who you think's going to win the Masters this week. I'd just like to hear kind of everybody else's picks and who you guys think are going to win this week. That'll pretty much do it. If you guys are playing golf this week, watching golf, betting golf, I hope you guys be on the green, and I will see everyone next week for the RBC Heritage. And that'll do it. Hope everyone has a great week and a great Masters week. Alrighty, see everybody.